On day 35, I woke up at 10 AM and reached my truck. Behind it, I found a new spawn to deal with. Then it was time to start unloading it from the yesterday loot and sort the items in their corresponding containers in the base. To make it faster, I also equipped the hiking bags I found before in both hands and loaded them with loot as well. Past 3 PM, I went outside to take more loot. On my way there, I noticed a Zed to the east near the metal fence. After dealing with him, I equipped back the hiking backpack in my primary hand and went back to my truck to get more loot to sort. On my way back to base, I had to drop the bags in my hands in order to deal with 3 enemies that came from the east. Past 5 PM, I was done unloading the truck and I deposited the hiking backpacks in its trunk. Then I entered inside the vehicle and ate a bag of chips I was storing on the driver's seat in order to restore my weight gain. Then I went in my living room in order to collect every single skill book for which I had extra copies and moved those in the crate for fire starter items near the barbecue. Later, I collected the Carpentry Volume 1 and started reading it. Past 7 PM, it was too dark to continue, so I equipped my flashlight to keep reading. I stopped close to midnight in order to eat some junk food until I started gaining weight yet again. After that, I went to bed and slept till 6 AM. The first thing in the morning I did is to eat some junk food in order to keep the weight gain going and then checked around the base for some new spawns. I found one in front of the parking lot. He had a digital watch for me to loot. After that, I got every single empty bottle found so far and started driving toward the bar in the northern part of the city. On my way there, I had to kill only one Zed in the parking between the warehouse and the bar. After that, I reached the bar owner apartment and filled up all of the bottles I got on me with fresh water from the bathroom. Going back to my truck, I had to kill a zombie that just spawned. Then I loaded all of the loot on me inside the truck and drove past the garages I looted 2 days ago. The next building to check was the auto repair shop, where in the waiting room on the ground I found an iron piece and a screwdriver, followed by a magazine in one of the cupboards. From there, I checked the bathroom and on its floor I found a sealed can of cola. At this point, it was time to access the auto repair workshop. The first loot was in the toolbox on the ground, and it was a box of nails. In the closest metal wall shelf, I also found a steel bar quarter. Moving to the south, I was able to spot a performance muffler in perfect conditions on the ground, followed by a sports regular tire. While in the metal shelf, there was a wrench and a knee pad to loot. The next useful item was on the ground in the opposite corner of this room, and it was a flashlight. While in front of the metal shelf, I found a standard performance tire. Nothing else of use was in this building, so I signed it as looted in the map and moved to the southeast to check a small shed I saw there. Loot-wise, I found only a wooden mallet and a rat poison in one of the shelves. At this point, it was time to get back inside my vehicle, deposit the new loot, and keep driving. Close to the next entrance in the next property, I had to stop and fight a Zed that charged me. Without any issues, I killed one by one all 6 zombies that tried to avenge his fallen friend. One of them had a carving fork for me to loot. After that, I dealt with one that for some reasons was trying to enter inside the shop. Then I decided to check the dumpsters to the left from the building complex. Inside, I found a garbage bag in both containers, and after removing the rotten food from both, I proceeded in picking them up. After that, it was time to check the clothing shop behind the first door. This allowed me to find a t-shirt and a pair of baggy jeans, followed by a last item to loot that was another t-shirt in perfect condition, meaning it was time to search the next shop. That was an all-you-can-eat restaurant. I started from checking the kitchen trash can. Inside it, I found a maggot I could use for fishing and a garbage bag. The last one had a medium handle to loot and a dress to throw away before collecting the bag. Next, only one cupboard had a useful item and it was a tea bag. After that, I picked up the microwave before searching for more loot. This led me to the bathroom entrance where on the ground there was 2 steel sheets I got from the broken doors. This was the last loot of this location, so it was time to sign it as looted in the map. At this point, I decided to check the 2 vehicles in the eastern parking. On my way there, I found a Nyala vehicle key. Then I was able to enter inside the dart that has its key in the ignition. But unfortunately, there was no fuel and no battery charge in it. At least on one of the seats, I found a magazine that teaches how to make some improvised flashlights and lanterns. Plus, there was a hottie magazine with some firecrackers on the last seat, followed by more firecrackers and a CD player in the glove box. Moving to the trunk, I found a jack and a beer can. It was time to check the next vehicle that had on its seats a CD, a paperclip, a magazine and an adhesive tape on its seats. Plus, there was a bag that had another magazine and a lighter for me to loot, while the last item was in the glove box where I found the gum. After signing these cars in the map, I noticed an incoming group to the west. Strafing backwards, I was able to split the group and kill all three easily. After that, I reached the building on the other side of the parking, where I had to deal with another one. Once done, I checked the vending machine behind the white car and found a lime soda bottle inside. Later, I went inside the car for some loot. This allowed me to find 2 paper clips, a map of West Point, and an adhesive tape from the seats. But the best loot was in the glove box, from where I obtained these car keys, some matches, one M9 pistol, a CD and a box of 9mm rounds. Before leaving the car, I also inserted the key in the ignition, only to find out that there was no fuel and the battery was empty. So I had to leave this vehicle as well and add an icon in the map to remember to pick it up later. After that, I went to check the first shop behind the car. This allowed me to find some macaroni and a garbage bag inside a bin. Inside the last one, I found a blue marker, an empty pot, and even a bullion cube to loot before collecting the bag as well. Next, on the ground, I found a ketchup bottle. While in the kitchen, there was a pair of rubber gloves in the first cupboard and another 2 bottles of ketchup in the second, while the last one had some seasoning salt. Looting this last item, I heard someone trying to open a window. I helped him by breaking it with my mallet, and I killed him as soon as he climbed inside. While trying to go back in the kitchen, another one came inside through the main door. After killing him, I finally was able to take the microwave from the kitchen. The next shop to check was a laundromat. In one of its dryers, I found some long socks in perfect conditions, followed by a short sleeve shirt from the second and a t-shirt from the third. The next loot was in a cupboard and it was a mop. This is a core item for husbandry, required to clean the chicken coop. From the second cupboard, I was able to obtain another short sleeve shirt. At this point, it was time to check the last shop, but unfortunately, this one was completely empty. Time to reach my vehicle and deposit some of the loot in its trunk, and I was interrupted by a group of 2 I had to fight. Moments later, I finished unloading and I took a moment to sign the last shop complex as looted in the map. Then I drove past the pancake house I explored a few days ago, and near the next crossroad had to leave my car in order to clear the surroundings of the next building. Carefully, I started to pull 1 zombie at a time, and without any issues I dropped 14 of them. After that, it was time to deal with the highway group. Killing the first 4 was easy enough, but it made me tired. After another one, I fell out of breath. They kept coming. I struggled a lot to fight the next 3, and I was able to kill only 1 before another one joined the fight. After killing the next 2, only 1 was left, and I had to dodge his grab by sprinting away. Once I saw 3 more incoming, I switched to my hatchet and started to attack the closest one with it, until he was dead. In the meantime, another one emerged from behind the trees, and I decided to retreat to the pancake house parking. This allowed me to separate the 2 fastest one and deal with them quickly. It was a little bit harder to fight with the third. Then I tried to push down the 4th while he was chasing me, but this didn't work and I eventually became exhausted, meaning that it was time to get in my truck and drive back to base, ignoring those 2. While driving home, I took a wrong turn and had to go back to the right path. Eventually, I found my way to my base, and despite extremely tired, I started unloading my truck, but had to stop and drop the backpack from my hands to fight 2 Zeds that tried to ambush me. While depositing some of the loot in the kitchen, I had to go back out and deal with another enemy that was breaking my entrance door. After that, finally I was able to finish depositing my new loot around 10 PM and I went to bed. But I woke up a few hours later and decided to finish unloading my truck. Almost at 4 AM I was done and went to bed again to sleep through the night.